Hey guys, today we got a 2021 Nissan Frontier. I am going to tint the windows on this thing, and I need to get underneath the seals that are right here on the front and the back doors. A couple ways to do that. If you're going to tint it, you could probably take the bolt off here, pull real hard here, and then just pull the channel. You don't have to pull the whole door panel off. That's one way to do it. On the back doors, it's a little bit different. If you do want to do that same little deal there, you do have to pull this trim off first because this thing kind of blocks it from coming out. So you just take a plastic tool and kind of pop that out and then pull back. But we're going to go through that in just a second. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to try to do that, and then I'm going to dismantle the door panel as well so I can show you how to do it. That way, in case you want to get in here for replacing the speaker or doing whatever it is that you want to do, that way, I have a little bit of time today. So let me bring you in and let's get started. Now, a couple of the tools that we're going to need are going to be some kind of a 10 millimeter socket. So I have it on the drill. Some kind of door panel removal tool, something like this or like this. I have two different styles. I used this one earlier. You want a magnet, a real thin flat screwdriver, and possibly a little tool like this. If you might need it, you might not. A couple tools like this just to get underneath the panel so that you can actually get this tool or this door panel tool under there so you can pry it. So first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and pull this little cover off. There's a tiny little notch right here, okay? Get your screwdriver, push it in, and then just kind of pry it out real gently. And then we want to go ahead and pull that out. Now there's on the back end of it, there's some little legs on there. You can see that right there and right there. So when you put it back in, we want to make sure to slide that back in there first and then snap it into place, okay? Go and pull that back out. And there is a 10 millimeter bolt right here. You have a drill, you can pull it out with that. And the two bolts on here, they're both the same size. Now we're going to move down here where you pull on the handle. There's another little door there that we have to take off. So right in here, we got to take this little cover off here. You're going to stick a little screwdriver there and pry it real gently, and then there's a 10 millimeter bolt there. Take a little screwdriver, get in there, there's a little cut out there, and then gently pry it out towards you. There's a little cover, there's a little notch out right there. You're going to pry it out and then just pull up. And then to put it back in, you just sit it back in there and snap it back into place. Fairly simple. And there's also a 10 millimeter bolt in here. This one looks like it's inset a little bit. Wow. Well, we have a problem. Looks like the dealership either drove down really hard on this bolt and it's really hard to get to. So I'm going to try a different type of socket and see if I can get it out. Show you what's going on there. That screw, that bolt right there it's way far in there. It's a little bit too far in. It should be a little bit further out. Like they torqued it down a little too tight. This thing's brand new. I was able to get it out. I just used a different type of socket, something that has the wall a little bit thinner so I can get in there and get the bolt out. That was really strange that was torqued down like that. For the next step, I was going to show you how to pull this out. So I really didn't need to pull that out just yet, but either way. So what you want to do here is pull back here, like kind of lift and pull. And you can pull back like that, and you get that panel loose there, and you get the channel right out. If you wanted to you're tinting the windows. And then put the channel back in and then just kind of bend and kind of try to pull it over a little bit and snap it back because there's clips right here. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead, since we already kind of got this off like that. The panel's going to come off a lot easier if you do it that route. Which basically you won't need a pry tool now. The next step is going to go ahead and take off these cables on here. It's typical of most cables, you just kind of pull away from you and take it out of the little sockets that they're in. One of them has a ball socket, and the ones that usually are the one on the bottom, and then the top has like a little hook like this. So you just pull the cable away from where it's attached, and then go ahead and just pull it out, and then pull it out of the area that it's in. So now the next step is going to be to unplug two harnesses that are on there. And let me go ahead and take them off first, and then that way I'll go ahead and show you a little bit easier. So basically there's two harnesses there, and all you do is push down on the little tab right there and pull it out. And the same thing with this one. This one's a little bit harder to get to. Push down. I think that's this one's with a window switch, and pull it out. Now, if that's all you're going to do, you have access here to take the speaker out, whatever you want to do. 10mm bolts, takes the 6x9 out of here. And then you can just unplug that right there if you wanted to get to that. But what I really wanted to show you was how to pull the switch out of here, because that's what I'm going to do since I already pulled the panel. So what we want to do here, this switch is routed with a cable here, so I need to work with the window basically rolling up and down. So I basically need to be able to roll the window up and down, so I want this switch out here, so I can have it over there and I don't have the panel dangling on there and possibly damaging something. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take this harness off. There's a harness that kind of goes through here and it loops through the whole thing. It's got two little spots here that just basically come off. There's little guides right here. So when you put it back on, you just put it there and then slide it back on just like that. Oops. And then you just pull it towards you. Same thing with this other one, you just put it back on there. So now that the harnesses are off the actual panel, next thing you do is you want to take off, there's three Phillips screws here that hold the switch. So if you take those three out, the switch will come completely out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If you're not pulling the switch, you won't need a Phillips head here. But since I am pulling the switch, I do need the Phillips head to get these screws out. And they're really small screws. Now, if you have a small drill or a small little screwdriver or an L style screw thing, it might be easier to do something like that on here. And then make sure you have your magnet handy so the screw doesn't get lost in the door panel. Oh, my bad. The passenger side has 3 screws. This side looks like it has 5 screws. Oh, actually no, hold on. It does have 3 screws. The other 3 are for a different switch. So we're going to go ahead and take both of them off since they're wired together. You don't have to, but I'm going to take them apart. I believe it's for the mirrors. So then that just comes out like that. So there's 2 screws here and 2 screws here to take the window switch off. Now if that's all you wanted to do, all you'd have to do is just unplug this from here with a little tab, pull it off, and then leave that switch in there. This switch actually goes underneath like that. So the mirror switch actually sits down there first, and it has 2, that one also has 2 screws, one there, and then it has one over here at the end, and the switch sits in there like that. So I'm going to plug this back into here because I'm working on this window. We're going to plug that back up. We're just going to leave that on here for right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean and prep my window and do all that stuff. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and bring you back here and show you how to take the back one. So similar here, we have to take this little cover off, and then we have to take this other little cover off. So first thing, we're going to go ahead and pop that off, and then we're going to go ahead and pull that 10mm bolt. So let's go ahead and pull this little cover off first. Right there where the notch out is, we're going to pull that out. And the next step is going to be to go ahead and take off that 10mm bolt. Go ahead and get that, move it aside. So same as the front, we're going to go ahead and take this little cover off. Same thing, we'll go ahead and just put our little screwdriver there, pull it towards us. It has just two little tabs there. It doesn't have anything on the bottom. So when you put it back in, put the bottom in first and then just snap it into place. We're going to go ahead and take off both this sides. Look like they torqued them down a little bit too hard. Didn't have that issue with the other side. So I'm going to use a little bit thinner 10mm socket. Get my magnet. Got my magnet, I got it out. So maybe a good idea is maybe use a 1/4 inch 10mm instead of a 3/8. On the other side I used the 3/8, I didn't have a problem, it came right out, but on the driver's side for some reason it seems like they torqued them down a little bit more. So right here we're going to need some kind of a plastic tool because we need to remove this trim on the side. So you want to go and just kind of get it back of here, get under here, and then you want to pull with one hand and then kind of pry with the other hand as you work your way up. It has little tiny clips. There's one I'm going to fall right there. And one of them stayed on there, so we're going to go ahead and pull that off. I have some plastic ones that I usually use. See if these ones, if I can pull it out. They're usually not that hard to take off, but when you're on camera, everything makes you a liar. There it is. Got it out. So there's 4 clips on here. Obviously 2 of them came off, so I'm going to slide those back on. So it has all 4. And make sure you push them back down into place because they like to shift a little bit. That's why that one came off, because it shifted. And then it just snaps back into place when you're done. So next step, to make this real easy, we're just going to kind of pull like this, pull towards us, and that's going to release the clips there, and then just kind of work our way down. Now if you have like a plastic tool here to help you, you can just kind of use that. If you have one of these tools, you can put that in there and then it pushes the panel. The only thing is it's metal, and I don't like to use it too much because it could scratch the paint right here on the inside. So we're going to go ahead and pull that towards us. We're going to remove those cables again. Just pull away from you. And the bottom one, if you pull away and just kind of, it'll come out of the socket. And the top one, it has like the little, kind of like an L shape. It goes into the top lock part. When you put it back in, you got to just make sure that you can see it and then put the thing back in there and then snap it back into place. And then I'm just going to unplug the harness here. Basically, it's just, you just push down. So what I like to do is I slide it out of here. You can see there's like a little guide there. It kind of goes in. You push it out, and then you just you go ahead and push on the little tab and then pull out the harness, and then basically the panel is out. Now from here, if I wanted to go ahead and remove the switch like I did on the other one, basically I gotta do is there's 2 screws, one there and then one over here, and then the switch comes completely out. And I'm gonna do that because I am working on the windows on this, so I do need the switch back over here where I'm working. So the back one only has, the back switches only have 2 screws on them. And it's really hard for me to show you here, so I'm not gonna bring you in. You can pretty much see these once you have the panel out. To show you what I did here, I pulled a screw off of here and a screw off of here, and then you just pull that out, and the whole harness comes out. And those are the 2 screws I pulled. They're really tiny Phillips heads. So since, like I said, I'm working on here to tint the windows, I'm going to plug this back in. Go ahead and pull this seal here. And now I have freedom to do whatever I want. I have all kinds of room in here. I could slide my film in here. You guys could replace the speakers if you wanted to back here. This looks like a speaker that kind of comes out. This looks like a speaker that kind of comes out here. There's 3 10mm bolts there, the plugs right here. Looks like it sits on top of some kind of a spacer. So I'm assuming if you had to replace those, you probably have to get some kind of a spacer, or probably cut this speaker off and then go ahead and mount the speaker on top of there. Something like that. Anyways, that's removing the front and rear door panels on a 2022 Nissan Frontier. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. I really wanted to do a video on this vehicle today because I couldn't find anything on this. All the ones that had the Nissan Frontier to remove the panels, they were different. It's the older style. These ones, they're easy, they're not hard. And like I said, if you're just going to tint them, you basically just pull this off here, pull back, you can pull the channels out. Just take that 1 screw off there on each one, and you're pretty much set. You have any questions? Hit me up. Thanks for watching.